Hi guys, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. It is the first book in the Mortal Instrument series, and it is one of the Shadowhunter books. So there is also the Infernal Devices series, which is set in the same world but in Victorian England, and I totally love that series. I have already read them. I have also already read the Shadowhunter Codex, and I will post the reviews to those down below, and also once I read the rest of the series, I'll link them. But I totally love this book. This takes place in New York. It is a contemporary novel. It follows Clary, who is a typical teenager, and it is just shy of her 16th birthday. And she discovers this world where demons exist, and there are these people called Shadowhunters, and she gets caught up in like this whole war thing going on, and it is freaking awesome. It is so amazingly done. Like, it is really, I think it's a fast-paced read. It is really interesting. There are enough turns to keep it interesting, but not so many that I'm like, wait, what just happened? And I like the balance. I love the wit in this book. Cassandra Clare's writing is amazing. She does a really good job of balancing, describing what's going on, keeping the plot moving, and making characters that are just freaking awesome, and I love them. They are really smart and multi-dimensional, and I love the fact that they're well read and witty and can make references to books or like pop culture stuff. It's so awesome. I love this world. I don't know how many times I can say awesome in a review, but we're probably going to find out. So the main character, Clary, is a normal teenager. She really loves art and hanging out with her best friend Simon, who's this complete nerd, but also really is like in a band and stuff. And the book starts off with her and Simon going to this club. And Clary sees this group of teenagers who are completely decked out in like tattoos and stuff. And she is like interested in them, so she follows them and witnesses them kill somebody. Except nobody else in the club sees it. Not like Simon doesn't even see these people, and she's completely confused about what just happened and kind of terrified. And something happens with her mom within like 24 hours of this, where her mom is getting attacked. And Clary gets this phone call. It's like, yo, don't come home right now. And Clary, being the genius that she is, goes home and finds the house completely destroyed and gets attacked by a demon, but luckily she gets saved by Jace, who is one of the strangely clad teenagers that she saw in the club. And she finds out that Jace is a shadow hunter, that there are demons, and that normal humans can't see shadow hunters. Like, she shouldn't have been able to see the demon, or Jace and his friends kill this demon in the club. So Clary's mom gets kidnapped, and the rest of the book is kind of Clary trying to get her mom back, trying to find out where her mom disappeared to, and trying to get help from the Shadowhunters, from Jace, and then his friends Alec, Isabelle, and Hodge. And also Simon trying to like look out for Clary, because all of a sudden she's hanging out with these strange people and weird things are happening and he doesn't quite understand what's going on. So one of my favorite parts of this book is like the characters, and I love them. I feel like you could put these characters in almost any scenario and I would want to find out what happens to them. Clary is kind of this weird mix of this person who just like jumps into situations, and she's really brave, but she doesn't always think things through all the way first, and normally that would bother me, but at the same time she's a teenager, so I kind of give her a pass on this, especially when she's under the stress of her entire world just like completely fell apart and now everything is completely different and she's just kind of lost. Then we have Jace, who is the main shadow hunter that we get to know. He is just like absolutely gorgeous and full of himself too. So cocky, but also really confident. He is so witty, and I love all Jace's comebacks. Like, you cannot insult this boy because he will just brush it off with some witty one-liner. And then Clary's best friend Simon, who is a normal human, and he's just so nerdy. Like, he quotes Star Wars, and he's like, someday I just want a girl when I say I love you, to just say I know back, like Han and Leia, and I totally feel it. And he does this really well. He does this amazing job of kind of staying well adjusted in the midst of all this stuff that's happening. Like he's not in the middle of it the way Clary is, and he could walk away, but he's just so devoted to Clary and such a great friend, and deals with everything that's happening just so well. It. Then we have Alec and Isabelle, who are siblings. Alec and Jace are like best friends and fight together as a team, but Alec is kind of the opposite, whereas Jace is like, our job is to protect the humans, so we should work with them and find out what's happening, especially if demons are attacking her. And Jace is like, hey, we're the Shadowhunters, they're the humans, we're supposed to protect them. They should go about their lives and let us deal with this. And Isabelle, his sister, who is kind of the medium between Jace and Alec. Like, she can see both sides of the situation, which I really like, and like reason things out. And I love the way that Isabelle sees things is kind of usually right, or the better alternative, and I love it. And she's also really confident, and she knows herself really well. She's a really kick-ass fighter. Then we have Hodge, who is their teacher. Like, he teaches the Shadowhunters, and is kind of their mentor. And he's just so bookish. Like, we always see him in the library, and he's kind of in charge and always like formulating the game plans or trying to advise them, but also still lets them have their own say and their own way of doing things. And like, okay, go try it your way. Then we have Clary's mom and her friend Luke, and we don't get to see either Jocelyn, who's Clary's mom, or Luke very much. But just Clary's got this like great loving family going on. She says she's only got 3 people she loves in her life, which are Simon, her mom, and Luke. And you definitely see that like they are one unit, this family. And then we have the villain Valentine, who is just so awful, and I just really, really, really hate Valentine. Valentine is what I imagine Voldemort would be like if he had stayed Tom Riddle. Like, he is cunning and charming and can just talk himself out of any situation, and the way he can read a person and like figure out their weakness is just, it's really awful. Like, he doesn't outright fight people like, let's go into battle and like spar and stuff, although he does some of that, but most of his power is in convincing other people to do things they wouldn't normally do, and it's really heartbreaking and just awful, and I really, really, really hate Valentine as a villain. So yeah, as I've said before, I really love this world. I love all the like twists and turns and how much detail there is and how structured the Shadowhunter world is. So I just love the world, the way this world operates, and how legend gets tied into everything. So like, they keep saying that all the stories are true. So like, they don't have any particular one religion, but kind of like all the stories from all the different religions are kind of true. So like, it is this bigger scope of like good versus evil, like of angels and demons, and just all this fighting that goes on. And I don't know, there's so much folklore in here that I love it, and the way it's twisted into the story and it plays out. And I don't want to spoil the book, but it's beautifully done. So I totally recommend this book. If you guys have not already, check out City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. And there are a few things I really want to talk about that are total, major, huge, freaking, ginormous spoilers. So if you don't want the ending of the book spoiled, then peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. If you have read this book, oh my goodness, this ending. I really, really, really hate this ending. And not for the reason most people do. Like, I am completely, absolutely convinced that Valentine is lying. There's just too many times that Clary says he is like... There's just too many times where Clary describes him as stopping to think. He uses his words like somebody might use a knife. So, like, trying to figure out the angle you would stab the knife in to, like, cause the most damage. while not actually killing a person. That's what I imagine Valentine does with like his thoughts and stuff. So the whole situation with Clary and Jace at the ending, I am not convinced that they are siblings. Like, I know Valentine says it and he lays it out and it makes sense, but I'm not buying it. Like, I don't believe a single word that comes out of Valentine's mouth. Valentine could tell me the entire history of Nephilim and have it be the absolute truth, but I wouldn't believe it coming out of his mouth. I would need to hear it from somebody else or like 20 other people before I believe what Valentine told me. I don't. Oh my goodness, he's awful. So yeah, I really hate him. I hate him for that. I hate him for the bit where he is Jace's father and like the scene where Jace describes his birthday present of a hawk and his dad says to like train him and make him obedient, and Jace makes the hawk fall in love with him and then it gets killed because he broke it. Because he like broke the hawk's spirit. And it's just like, are you kidding me? And also, if Jace, I don't know whether I want Jace and Valentine to be actual father and son or not, because that's kind of the less horrifying alternative. The more horrifying alternative is that Valentine kidnapped Jace, raised him as his son in secret for 10 years, lied about who he was, and then turns him over to somebody else because it got too complicated for him, and now is trying to use it to his advantage. And part of me believes that that is totally something Valentine could do, and part of me is like, shit, I hope not, because that just makes it even worse for Jace. Like, I don't know. I really, everything revolving around Valentine is just so awful. And like, he kidnaps his wife, and she's in a coma, which is partially Jocelyn's fault. Like, she took a potion to like not turn over anything to Valentine. But just that was just so freaking awful. And he'll just use anybody. He'll use his own children. He'll use his wife. Use his best friend. Just doesn't care. Turn his back on the entire clave. I really, really hate him as a villain. He is truly, truly awful. And then we have Jocelyn lying to Clary her entire life, which is also pretty bad. But if she's trying to protect Clary from Valentine, I kind of get it. Like, it's the lesser of two evils. Feels awful, but I feel like I'll forgive Jocelyn eventually. And I can see Clary forgiving Jocelyn, but there's no way on earth I'm forgiving Valentine for anything. Also in this book, we have all the like shipping that I do in this book. In the Infernal Devices, there's like this one love triangle with like I just ship all three of them together and they need to go get their own house. In this, there's just this tangled web of pretty much any way it shanks, any way that these ships could shake loose, I would be okay with. I'm okay with Clary and Simon, and Clary and Jace and Alec, or Jace and Isabelle, or Alec and Magnus, or Isabelle and Simon, or really, there's pretty much no way these series could go through that I would not be happy with. Like, I want everyone together. And I definitely ship Luke and Jocelyn. Like, totally, totally. We don't see them very much, but I'm totally shipping them. Oh yeah, there's also in the betrayal bit, we have Hodge's betrayal, which like hurt the most. It's like everybody kept talking about Valentine being this awful, awful villain, so I'm kind of expecting it. But then the way that Hodge turns his back on the kids, and it's just like, seriously, dude? Man, like, is it really that bad being stuck in the freaking Shadowhunter Institute and, like, we've got this amazing greenhouse, this awesome library, like, there are worse places to be in prison, dude. Like, what you did was pretty bad, so, yeah, it sucks that not everybody got the same punishment, but what you were given was still better than really what any of you guys should have gotten for this. For your betrayal of the clave and what happened with the circle. Totally knew something was up with Luke, but didn't really get the whole vampire, or like the whole werewolf thing. I was like, what? That took me a bit by surprise. And I was super excited to see Magnus because totally fell in love with him in the Infernal Devices series. Like, he's so awesome, and just, yes, more Magnus. best part about warlocks is they live forever. So there's my review for City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I totally love it. Yeah. Let me know in the comments below what is your favorite part or what you thought of it. Peace out. I love you guys and keep reading. Bye.